Alright folks, gather round. We're diving into a legal battleground today, straight from the Pakistani courts. It's a story about a marriage dispute, but hold on, it's not as simple as it sounds. We've got allegations of coercion, questionable evidence, and a whole lot of drama. This case, Muhammad Akhtar Shah vs. Judge Family Court, Kot Addu Others, landed in the Lahore High Court. The petitioner, Mr. Shah, claimed he was married to respondent number 3, but she denied it, claiming she was forced into acknowledging a marriage that never happened. The plot thickens because respondent number 3 had previously acknowledged the marriage, but now she's singing a different tune. So the court had to figure out, was there a real marriage or was someone trying to pull a fast one? The High Court ultimately sided with the lower courts. Dismissing the case, they basically said, look, we weren't there. The lower courts did their thing, examined the evidence and made a call. But this case isn't just about one couple's marital woes. It raises important questions about marriage, coercion, and the burden of proof in a society where these issues can be seriously complex. Now let's get into the legal weeds a bit. This case revolves around a concept called Jactitation of marriage. Sounds fancy, right? Basically, it means one person is claiming to be married to another, but that other person is like holed up. That's not true. Respondent number 3 claimed she was a victim of this Jactitation. She said she was coerced into saying she was married to the petitioner, when in reality there was no valid marriage under Islamic law. This claim is a big deal because forced marriage is a serious issue and the court had to determine if her rights were violated. The court had to consider whether respondent number 3's claim of coercion held water. Could she provide enough evidence to back up her story? Or was this a case of cold feet with someone trying to back out of a marriage they now regretted? In any legal battle, the burden of proof is crucial. It's like that saying, put up or shut up. In this case, the burden fell squarely on the petitioner, Mr. Shah, to prove that a valid marriage existed. And let me tell you, proving a marriage isn't just about sight showing up hand in hand. Under Islamic law and Pakistani law, a valid marriage or nikah requires certain conditions to be met. There needs to be a clear proposal and acceptance, witnesses, and of course the consent of both parties. Mr. Shah had to bring his A game in terms of evidence. Did he have a signed marriage contract? Were there credible witnesses who could vouch for the marriage? These are the questions the court had to grapple with. Without solid evidence, his case would crumble faster than a cookie in a toddler's hand. Here's where things get really interesting. Remember how respondent number 3 had previously acknowledged the marriage? Yeah, about that. She claimed those statements were made under duress, meaning she was pressured or forced into saying them. This claim throws a wrench into the whole situation. The court couldn't just ignore those past statements, but they also couldn't ignore her claims of coercion. It's a classic he said, she said scenario, but with much higher stakes. The court had to figure out, Tonda, were her previous statements given freely and truthfully, or were they extracted under pressure? If she was coerced, it could invalidate those statements and seriously weaken the petitioner's case. This element of coercion added a whole new layer of complexity to an already tangled legal web. Section 5. The High Court's hands-off approach. Now you might be thinking, hold on, isn't the High Court supposed to fix everything? Well, not quite. In this case, the Lahore High Court took a step back. They basically said, look, the lower courts are the ones who who heard all the evidence and saw the witnesses firsthand. They're in a better position to judge the credibility of the claims. This hands-off approach might seem strange, but it's rooted in the principle of judicial restraint. The High Court doesn't usually interfere with the lower court's findings of fact unless there's a glaring error or injustice. Think of it like a cooking show. The High Court is like the celebrity chef who pops in to offer guidance, but they trust their sous chefs, the lower courts, to do the actual cooking. They're not going to micromanage every single ingredient and step unless something is seriously off. Section 6. Unconvinced by the evidence. A breakdown of the court's reasoning. Let's break down why the court wasn't buying what Mr. Shah was selling. First, respondent number 3 consistently denied the marriage. That's a pretty big red flag right there. It sounds positive, not like she was flip-flopping. She stuck to her guns. Second, the evidence Mr. Shah presented was about as convincing as a $3 bill. He had a nikah-nama, a marriage contract, but it wasn't properly validated. It's like trying to pay for groceries with monopoly money. It just doesn't fly. And where were the witnesses? Mr. Shah couldn't produce any credible witnesses to back up his claims. It's like that saying, if a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, did it really make a sound? In this case, if a marriage happens and there's no one to corroborate it, did it really happen? The court wasn't convinced. Section 7. The Nikah Kawan's testimony. A missed opportunity. Now there was one witness who could have potentially turned the tide. The Nikah Kawan, the officiant who supposedly performed the marriage. But here's the catch. His statement was deemed inadmissible. Why? Because Mr. Shah's legal team messed up. They didn't give the other side a chance to cross-examine the Nikah Kawan. It's like playing a game of basketball and not letting the other team touch the ball. Not exactly fair, right? Cross-examination is crucial because it ensures both sides have a chance to poke holes in the witness's story and test its credibility. This blunder by Mr. Shah's team was a major blow to his case. It's like having the winning lottery ticket, but accidentally leaving it in your pocket on laundry day. A missed opportunity of epic proportions. Section 8. Upholding evidentiary standards. A win for justice. So what's the takeaway from this whole legal saga? Well, for starters, evidence matters. The court made it clear that you can't just waltz into court with flimsy evidence and expect to win, especially when it comes to something as serious as marriage. The judgment also highlights the importance of protecting individuals, especially women, from forced marriages. By siding with respondent number 3, the court sent a message loud and clear. Coercion has no place in the institution of marriage. This case serves as a reminder that the legal system, while not perfect, can be a powerful tool for those seeking justice. But it also underscores the importance of strong evidence, due process, and a healthy dose of skepticism when navigating the complexities of the courtroom. Section 9. Beyond the case, broader implications for marriage and individual rights. This case wasn't just about one couple's marital woes. It had broader implications for how marriages are viewed and challenged in Pakistani society. It highlighted the ongoing struggle against forced marriage, a practice that robs individuals, particularly women, of their autonomy and freedom. The judgment serves as a beacon of hope for those fighting against such injustices. It reinforces the importance of consent, agency, and the right to self-determination in matters of marriage. It also underscores the need for greater awareness and legal protection for victims of forced marriage, Ultimately, this case is a reminder that the pursuit of justice is an ongoing process, and the fight for individual rights, especially within the complex institution of marriage, requires vigilance, courage, and a commitment to upholding the principles of equality and fairness.